Hello my dear students, in this video we are going to study relationship between classes, virtual base classes. Consider a situation wherein you can see here class A is derived two derived classes B and C. Here in turn B and C is further derived one more class called D. So here D will acquire the properties of either B or C. So in this situation there is a ambiguity, there is a confusion for the compiler which copies of the features of the class, whether B has to be taken or C has to be taken. So in order to avoid this ambiguity, we are going to use the keyword called virtual. Now let us take a small example how exactly we can use the virtual keyword. So here we will write class A and then we are going to write curly open brace and number of statements, curly closing brace, put semicolon, then class B colon virtual public A curly open brace, number of statements, curly closing brace, put semicolon. So class C colon virtual public A again, because we are going to inherit the property from A class only. Yes, next we'll move on to class D. So here we'll write class D and then we'll write colon public B comma public C curly open brace and number of statements, curly closing brace, and then put semicolon. So this is how we'll be able to avoid the ambiguity whenever we are trying to copy the features from two different classes which are derived from the same base class. Now let us study abstract classes. An abstract class is one which is not used to create objects. An abstract class which is designed to act only as a base class. Here you would have seen in the single level inheritance, the base class is acting as a abstract class because we are not going to create the object of that particular class, but we are going to create the object of the derived class. Hence the base class is acting as a abstract class which is used as only abstract class, which is not used to create object of that particular class. Constructors and destructors in derived classes. So here constructors in a base class will get invoked first and then the constructors which are defined in a derived class will get executed. But in case of destructors, the case is the reverse. So here the first destructors from the derived class will get invoked and then the destructors which are written in a base class will get executed. Now let us take a syntax. Here you can see class, then base class, curly open brace, protected, and then we are going to write public, and here we'll write base class round braces. So this indicates it is a base class constructor. So curly open and closing brace and then put curly closing brace and put semicolon. Then we are going to write class derived class, put colon, then we'll write public derived class, curly open brace, and then we are going to write protected colon and then public colon, and here we are going to write derived class. So it is a constructor in a derived class. So curly open and closing brace and put one more curly closing brace for termination of derived class and then put semicolon. Now we'll see a programming example how exactly the constructors and destructors will get executed in the derived class. For that I'll take you to my laptop screen and you need to trace this particular program by pressing F7 button so that we can understand how exactly the constructors from the base class to derived class will get invoked, and in a reverse order how exactly the destructors from the derived class to the base class will get invoked. Here we'll study how to write the constructors and destructors in a derived class. So let us write a comment line: constructors and destructors in derived class. So let us write the preprocessor directive hash include iostream dot h hash include conio.h, and here we'll write a class called base class and curly open brace, and here we are going to write public access specifier, and the constructor name should be same as that of the class name. Here I'm going to write base, and here we are going to display the information that we are in a base class. Here we'll write base class constructor. Here we'll write we are in base class constructor, then curly closing brace, and after constructor we need to define a destructor. So it begin with tilde symbol, and name of the destructor is base, and here we are going to write cout, and here we'll write in base class destructor, curly closing brace, and put one more curly closing brace and put semicolon. Here this indicates it's a termination of the base class. Now we'll define one more class called derived class, and here we'll write public and then colon. Here we'll write derived class function, so that is constructor. Here we'll write cout in derived class constructor. Next we are going to write tilde symbol, that is destructor. Again we'll write derived, that is destructor, and here we'll write cout in derived class destructor. Here we don't need to execute this particular program. We need to just trace this particular program by pressing F7 to understand from base class to derived class. The first constructors will get invokes, and in a reverse case the destructive from the derived class to the base class will get invokes. So let us write here void main, and then we are going to use curly open brace, and here we are going to create the object of the derived class derived, and here I'll write obj. Yes, so next get ch, because we don't need to call each of these functions separately because all of them are constructor and destructors, hence they are going to invoke automatically as soon as the object of the class is created. Now you can press F7 and trace this particular program. Here you can see always execution starts from main function, it goes to derived object. Here we have forgotten to inherit the properties of the base class. Here we have to put colon and public, then we'll write a base class. Now we'll trace this particular program by pressing F7. Here you can see, so it starts executing from main, and then once the object is created it goes to the first base class constructor, and then it comes to the derived class constructor. Okay, then you can see now the destructors turn. Here you can see the destructors of the derived class will get executed first, and then the destructors in the base class will get executed next. I hope it is clear for you now. That's all in this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. We will see you in the next video.